Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Mail and to Weeby Whiskey. I'm Sean.
I'm Randy.
I'm Dean.
Dean has brought us a bottle of Nikka,
Nikka.
Japanese whiskey.
All the way from Japan.
Yeah.
And he didn't even bring it in a brown paper bag.
No. You want to tell us a bit about the whiskey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were discussing a bit earlier about the history of Nikka, and it's what kind of pulled me to it and made me very interested in the quality of the whiskey and what it was all about. So the owner, or the founder of Nikka, actually went to Scotland in 1918 and went to do I guess an apprenticeship at a Scottish distillery and learn how to make proper Scotch. Returned to Japan and set up the Nikka breweries in the late 1930s. And Nikka, this whiskey first came out in 1940. They took a bit of a different approach from just a straight single malt, in that they've often, and from their website and everything else and the research on it, blend from 100 different barrels. Traditionally, all the fine scotches that have come out of Scotland and whiskies out of North America, the claim to fame was single malt, single barrel, aging and everything else on the high end. And I think what's been changing over time, and I didn't fully realize until I started researching this a bit, was that a lot of the whiskeys, a lot of the scotches we get now are pretty much 90% blends. Mm-hmm. Very few single
True
malts.
that.
There's a
lot of single malts, but
what does single malt mean?
But what we lose in the knowledge is when we have bottles without an age statement.
Correct.
Yes.
Right? Because those ones typically are blended.
Yeah. But these Nikka doesn't have an age statement on it either.
No.
So
No, because
we're
it's
not sure what we're.
Well, it's
we're
blended from
drinking, right?
100
From
different
100
casks.
different batches,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So some could be yesterday and some could be like 100 years ago.
Yeah, they could be.
Well,
and that's what fascinated me a little bit.
not yesterday,
about
but-
the
no,
process.
yeah, but I mean,
Let's hope not.
there's got to be some criteria even for Japanese whiskey.
Without a doubt. But
But-
imagine if you have 100 different
Yeah.
100 different notes to play on an instrument versus three notes.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Right?
that's what fascinated me by it. So, I mean, if you look at this whiskey, it's got
lovely.
good color.
It certainly
It's
does.
got some nice floral notes and things on the nose.
Man, does it ever. I've been sitting here and
Yes.
smelling it. Like, I'm going like, when do we get to
Yeah, I
taste
think
it?
it's
let's
time
try
to-
it.
it's
now.
time
It's
to
time
try
to
it,
try
right?
it. So,
Can we stop talking and just get on with it? Oh, I love that. Man, that's good.
so you get the caramel and the oak.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And everything coming at it. And what I couldn't find out is, okay, what type of casks are they using? Are you mixing in, like we've talked about, different types of wine casks and sherry casks or whatever else to do it? I haven't been really able to find that out, because it's got some sweet to it. It's got
Sure
some-
does.
It's very sweet, and it's 51.4%. You can definitely get that little bit of an alcohol sting, but
It's kind of funny because I'm looking for the pepper at the end and I'm not finding it.
No.
And I find that interesting because I really expect that.
yeah.
For some reason. I don't know why, but I just
With
do.
the
and I-
strength up front.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's got lots of legs. It finishes
It
very,
sure does.
very long. So what fascinates me a little bit is, I guess, the precision, and maybe this is something that's, particularly Japanese, to be able to be detailed enough for 100 different batches and come up with a bottle that year to year to year is very similar.
That is.
Right? Mixing a little more of this, a little less of this, a little bit of that in the process. And so I think they've done a fantastic job.
I think they've done an
And-
amazing job. So now, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but so we have 100 casks,
Yes,
and they're sitting in Japan,
yes.
and they've aged in Japan.
Yeah.
So there would be certain different atmospheric influences that I would imagine would take place
Yeah.
because you're much closer to the equator. There's a lot of different things that are happening in the air that
But
wouldn't
there's a lot of different variation in the climate, from what I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, Japan's very long.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
So Hokkaido, like seeing this Japanese distillery with snow on the roof
Okay.
is a little surprising to
It
me.
is,
and now
yeah.
you see it. So the reason that he set up in Hokkaido and another town a bit further north that I can't remember the name of for the two distilleries, he has two, was because the climate was very similar to Scotland.
Interesting.
And he
So
went back.
were they growing their malt?
Yes,
there?
they're growing their
grains?
barley and their grains
And
there.
the grains there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it is locally produced, and the climatic conditions, funnily enough, are fairly similar to Scotland, and so the variances are much smaller than I think we would think they would be.
Yeah.
On the aging side of it, and apparently the sea breeze and everything around there is very similar. So
So none of this then is actually made in Scotland.
none of it. This is all Japanese.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. And yet Japanese buy Scottish distilleries like crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what that's why I'm very interested in this now because if none of this is made in Scotland,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very good.
And the fact that it's so technical, I mean,
Yeah.
it speaks to the Japanese
But I was just
culture.
going to say that is all Japanese though,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
highly technical
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
right?
But
And very
what they're-
precise.
Yeah, what they're not doing though is telling us, what is there color added to it? Has it been chill filtered? And
Right.
I guess we already discussed the age statements on
Yeah,
this particular
yeah.
one. I mean,
Yeah.
Nikka does make whiskeys that do have age statements.
Absolutely.
on them, right?
Yeah. And they've got a lot of single malt, single cask
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
whiskeys to do. But, again, for me, it was what am I going to buy and drink on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Not necessarily what am I going to put on the shelf
Right.
Yeah.
and keep for special occasions. And this was one that I thought, well, you know what? I'll drink that.
And
any
so,
day.
in the Canadian market, what are we looking at? And specifically Alberta, what kind of pricing are we looking at?
$50 range.
$50.
Oh.
That's a darn good whiskey for $50.
Yeah,
I'll
I
say
think so.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a darn good whiskey for $50.
So
There is a lot going on in it.
there
You
is.
had mentioned the caramel, the
Bit
brown
of-
sugar.
You get the oak
vanilla.
on the back, yeah. There's lots going on, and that's the fun part. Again, it blows my mind. Randy and I were talking last time we were together. When I got married in 1986, somebody gave me a bottle of wine from a winery in Italy, and it was cheap wine, $12 a bottle, somewhere in there. And all this time later, I can go into the store and buy that wine, and it tastes the same. From 86 to 2022. So
They are that consistent.
they are that consistent,
Yeah.
and they make a bazillion liters a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the blending, can be done. I mean, these guys
Yeah.
are really good at it. And so coming from the wine side a bit, this really intrigued me. I mean, I can blend from,
Legs on that.
I can see blending from
insane.
4 or 5 or 6 different wines, blending from 100 casks.
Yeah.
You need to know
That's
what
crazy.
you're doing.
All I can see is just like a long piano,
Yeah.
essentially, of different whiskeys to just a little of this, a little of that, a little of this. Oh, that was a good one. Let's do a little bit more of that.
I'm going to drop a little water
Yeah.
in there.
Oh yeah, pass it around there, Randy.
Yeah.
Let's all have a go.
Oh, here, a few hold. I'll
Yep.
Yeah.
do a couple.
Just to
too.
see what a few drops of water does to it.
And apparently with
Can you please? Would you mind?
Okay,
My
here,
hands are
I'll
full.
there,
Oh, there you
I'll
go.
do
do that, and I'll do this.
Say, how did you do it in the first place?
Yeah.
There we go. Lovely.
And I think as they get over that 50% mark, over a bit of ice and with a bit of water, and it really does bring it out.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
It did change it.
Yeah, even the nose, you can get more floral.
I was going to say the first thing I noticed was the nose was
Yeah.
quite a bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. So like over an ice cube would really bring out
Uh huh.
a bunch of that. I think.
Yeah, and this is one I wouldn't be afraid to put an ice cube with. Actually, I would almost kind of want that in a way.
Yeah.
I quite liked it with a little bit of water. It's nice.
Yeah.
you certainly get a little bit less of the complexity, a lot less going on with little drop of
With a
water.
drop of water.
Yeah.
It blends it.
Blends it
No
nicely.
pun
Yeah.
intended. So.
No.
No, but it kind of
But it's
it almost gives it a pastel sort of quality to it in a sense.
Right.
It's soft, kind of soft edges and
Right.
like not vibrant. Like I think of it as prior to water, like bright primary colors.
Yeah.
And now suddenly it's all kind of warm and fuzzy and like I like that. It's very nice.
But it's a sipping whiskey still. It's
Yeah.
not
Without a
something
doubt.
you're gonna use for a cocktail.
Oh goodness,
Yeah.
no.
No.
No, we're not mixing this with anything.
No.
Perish the thought.
I haven't. I was going to try it with a cigar out at the campsite and see how it played with the cigar, but I haven't.
I
got
imagine
there
it would be
yet,
interesting.
Yeah.
You couldn't cut it with water to do that, but it would be interesting to see how it would play with a cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next time camping, we'll give it a run.
Should we give the next one a whirl?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want this segment to end though, because this is good.
So just reach back here and grab a
Sorry.
few other glasses. And here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because I don't want to.
And that's fine.
Down.
We'll
This is like a juicy big hamburger. When you start eating it, there's no way you can put it down now, right? Because until it's done. Excuse me. Actually, I'm gonna cough like
just
that.
have a sample of this next one. So
Excuse me.
now I think this one
Take
is
that out in post.
this one is Suntory Whiskey Toki.
Wait! I'm not
Yeah.
done.
Oh, that's all right. You can drink that one while we're
Yeah,
still
it's
doing
all right.
this.
It's no
Yeah.
panic.
Yeah. But again, this
Boy, that'll
one.
run.
Sipping
Yeah.
whiskey, you said.
Yes. Yeah. Not shooting whiskey.
But
Can
this
I,
is.
can I hand this off to the officer?
Oh, watch your ears.
Don't walk your.
Oh, you only got that much of yours. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
There we are.
I think this is a blend as well.
I would expect.
Yeah.
I would imagine they would.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably-
well, here. It's a vivid blend of carefully selected Japanese whiskeys, silky with a subtly sweet and spicy finish. So,
How much
very-
fun is this? They're all Japanese whiskeys. This
Yeah.
is great.
But you know what? We haven't done Japanese whiskeys up
Ever.
to this point.
No.
So,
Yeah.
well,
In all 4 shows.
in all, well, no, all 3 shows. This
Three
is the
shows.
4th one.
Right.
So this is actually
Here we are.
this is the Japanese whiskey one.
Yeah, it's
So, but now this one I think is more of a basic entry level kind of whiskey,
Yeah, I have not tried this one either, so
No.
let's give
and
it
it's much lighter.
Yeah,
so
you're-
I would say that there's no color added to that one for sure. But again, there's no age statement. There's no declaration that it's non-chill filtered.
yeah,
Clearly a blend.
clearly a blend.
Yeah.
Very light on the nose.
Very.
Yeah, very light.
Not big legs either,
No.
I'm noticing. I mean, they're there, for sure. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
Not much color to
It
to hold
is,
it.
I believe, 43%.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's going to be a lot lighter in taste than the 51%.
Yeah.
one, that's for sure. It's compared to the Nikka, this is just anemic.
Yes, it's anemic.
But
Yeah.
I feel like we should have started with this one.
Well, maybe we should have started
Yeah,
with this
yeah.
one.
You know what?
No.
You know what's interesting? We were talking about the tongue for tasting too,
Yes.
and with the Nikka, you could put it in your mouth and it took over.
Yes.
This one, do you know about the tongue for tasting
Mm-hmm.
on wine? Okay, so I mean, you really have to spread this one around
Yeah,
to get the
to
flavors.
get it
Otherwise,
all
you just
over.
get the sour out of
that's
it.
right. Exactly. Yep. I find I do that with all whiskeys anyway, is that just kind of get it all around, because your tongue will pick up different flavors in different parts, different regions of the tongue. So
Yeah. If you were not a whiskey drinker, I would maybe give that to you because it would be nice and light.
and not it wouldn't
like
offend.
The flavor wouldn't offend you.
No,
It's
you could feel like one of the
smooth.
boys with this.
That's
yeah,
right. It's
Yeah.
smooth. It finishes very light.
Yeah.
Has really, it doesn't overwhelm you in any way. But I think as a starter, you might try this.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a good starter. This is
Yeah.
this is a poker night
It's not, yeah.
There you go,
whiskey,
with
right?
eating chips.
Absolutely.
And salt.
Yep.
Bunch
Yep.
of salt and
Yep.
chips and things might.
43%.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, it's, or if you're,
Huh.
I mean, there seems to be a fairly large section of the whiskey drinking population that likes to do cocktails. So I think this would be perfect for a cocktail.
Yes.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Although it's fine on its own. I'm giving it high marks for its standalone quality.
Yeah.
Actually, I quite like it. I like it because I can see myself on a poker night playing and a couple of these, and I'm watching all my other guys getting a little bit hazy
Yeah.
because they're all in the bourbons.
They're on
Yeah.
the bourbons. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So if you're not concerned about sitting and trying to get that complexity out of a whiskey, you're not looking for those flavors. If you just want something,
This
to
is
drink
what-
when
exactly.
you're just sitting around BSing with
Yeah.
the guys
To
playing
me,
cards, whatever.
This is a
Yeah.
social whiskey.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
totally.
one that you cannot have. You don't have to focus on it.
Yeah.
In
No.
fact, that in itself is the thing that
Yeah.
I like the
Exactly.
most about it.
So-
Is that it's not. We can sit around. We can have a chat.
Yeah.
We don't need to go. Oh my God, there are. Oh, I
Yeah.
love the pear notes here.
Yeah.
No, because we don't have to do that because
No.
this is happening,
It is
and it's just lovely.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
And it's easy drinking.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
it's not.
Very easy. This is a dangerous patio Scotch. In my
There
mind,
you go.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
And what we
Well, it's not
were,
Scotch whiskey.
you know,
sorry.
what we were thinking about too. Last time we were talking, and said, when have you had a rattler, beer, something with effervescence in it on a really hot day, where you really don't want something really big and strong and overwhelming.
Exactly.
You want something light and,
Yeah.
and easy drinking to but you still want to have a whiskey as opposed to drinking
Yeah.
something else.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I agree.
Because if you're eating this, if you're drinking this neat, there's no calories, right?
No,
That's-
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It's
Keto
not
friendly.
fruity, it's
keto.
Keto
Yeah.
friendly.
Yeah.
Keto friendly.
1/3 of us here does keto.
With the mics, but hey, there we go.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a fan for just
I'm
for
a
all
huge
those
fan.
reasons that you just talked about.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I think this is wonderful.
Because I mean,
It's unpretentious and it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be.
Huh.
It's just lovely.
yeah.
So it's two Japanese whiskeys for two different purposes, really.
Truly,
Yeah.
the Nikka,
Nikka, yeah.
I can see that's a connoisseur's sort of whiskey. That has a great story. There's lots of things to talk about because there's lots of things to experience in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This guy, wow. I mean, this is just, I can sit here and have a conversation with you quite comfortably without even bringing the whiskey into the
Yeah.
conversation.
Not even thinking about it.
Exactly. And that,
Oh yeah, and the price point on
yeah, what are we talking
This
about price
is
point? This should be in the very favorable
this. Yeah, exactly. It's like $50.
$50.
That kind of thing, right? So I I
Actually,
think the Nikka is just a little bit higher.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's mid 50s for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, but for a Japanese whiskey, $50, you can't go wrong really with either one of them,
Fair
right? All depending
enough.
on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you want to try and dissect the aromas and the flavors in it and try and pick out something from each one of those 100 barrels in the blends, hey, then the Nikka is what you need.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting. Like Nikka has a lot of different whiskeys.
They do. They have a
Yeah,
price.
yeah.
yeah, and this is like truthfully, we've had this one in the shop before.
Yeah.
It goes fast because people really like it.
Yeah.
But I'm dying to see what else they have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
and this is not their highest end,
No.
which is quite interesting.
It
too,
is
because
very
if the
interesting.
other ones are blends and are higher end. I'd be interested, to give them a run.
But I'll say one thing about this, and this is a purely design thing, but when you look at the bottle, you know that is a Japanese whiskey.
There.
You know that. Like, there is absolutely no question
Well, it's a
about it.
unique bottle for sure.
Unique bottle, but it's the minimalist look of it that
Yeah.
gives it that distinctly Japanese, like, oh yeah,
feel.
That is a Japanese
Yeah.
whiskey
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
it's a 500 ml bottle
Yes.
as opposed to a
As a
750.
700,
Yeah.
750, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Which again is minimalist and Japanese.
yeah.
It's just everything
It speaks-
smaller has
speaks
higher
to it.
value. It's just that way. I like,
No,
and I love the Japanese for that. I
Yeah.
really do. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's
No, it speaks to it so nicely. And
Totally.
It's elegantly done. I
it
mean,
is
it's
very
not,
elegant.
You know, it's not brash. It's,
But I would love to try their single malts
Yes.
with age statements.
Yes.
The 12s, the
Yeah.
18s, that kind of thing, and see what they.
Yeah.
And I believe they have like a peated whiskey as
Yes.
well.
Oh, definitely.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would
So-
be all kinds of fun.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Right,
So
because
to,
you got-
to line up a half a dozen of them
Oh.
and try them out.
Yeah. That
You
would be
think
fun.
we could manage that on one show?
We might need a food break.
We could.
That would be
Yeah.
a that could be a long show.
We
Yeah,
could
yeah.
give it a try for sure.
yeah, totally. It would
But
be
I
interesting.
think about that though, you know, I think about that. It was like something peated,
Yes.
right? And then of course my mind automatically goes to Ardbeg or Lefroy or something like that,
Yes,
right? You know, some big hairy monster crashing through the woods,
Yeah.
and then there's this lovely, delicate Japanese, but a little bit smoky kind of, you
Yeah,
know, just
yeah.
chill, hanging
That
there in a
would
bit of
be-
a Buddha Zen sort of
Yeah.
place, right?
That'd be awesome to try out, right?
It would be.
The Nikka
Yeah.
smoked ones and then
Against
Yeah.
something heavy like the Ardbeg
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah. And this is what Takasuru did, was bring that Scottish tradition with him. So he does know how to make those big.
yeah,
heavy
that the
smoky
big,
Scotch.
the big ones,
Big
yeah.
Isle,
Ah.
Yeah.
peated stuff.
Yeah. So they do have a couple of those. Yeah, it would be fun to try them out. I agree.
I think
we
that would
thought
be
this
fun.
side by side would be kind of neat. I think.
This is good because this shows an incredibly huge contrast. Both of them have very distinct qualities.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually like this guy. I
Yeah.
do. I really like
This
this
one tastes like another, actually.
It sure does. Like it just begs for more. That's why it says dangerous patio scotch.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
out because you can put this on ice. It's not embarrassing to do that in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form.
No.
And my goodness, yeah, I call a cab
Yeah.
because
No,
we're gonna
absolutely.
need a ride home today.
Yep. It's a good thing Dean has a designated
Yeah, I got a
driver.
DD. Thanks, boss.
I like
you
how
know
we're
what?
all individual and we all look out for ourselves.
In future shows, though, talking about that whole peat thing, the smoke,
Yeah.
we need to do something with food.
Absolutely.
Pairings, right?
Yes.
So
We
get-
have a Pit Boss smoker out back. Hey,
Yeah.
Pit Boss, if you're listening, we have one of your smokers out back. We love brisket. Just
Oh,
saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we talked about was, I've got a smoker at home too. I was going to do a shoulder and a brisket,
Ooh,
Yeah.
and bring them for one of our tastings,
excellent.
so that we could try brisket, we could try some beef, some pork, and see what stands up against those.
Yeah.
Let's
Take
bring
like
him here
half a
though.
dozen
Let's do it
different-
here.
Yeah, okay.
Because then we can have our people.
gotta
We
be-
can
yeah,
we
yeah.
can we can involve some people in this. I
Yeah,
think it'd be
yeah.
fun.
Sure,
Excellent.
that'd be a lot of fun. Try.
Sure. Try like a half a dozen different types
Yeah.
of whiskeys, you know?
Yeah,
and
certainly.
I'd
Yeah,
love to try
right
a
on.
big smoky one.
Exactly.
See how that went.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We say absolutely way too much, so we're
Yeah,
trying to.
Definitely.
Definitely way too much. But anyways, I think
Yeah.
that's been really good.
I think this
Yeah.
has been
It's
a fun.
very
This
interesting.
has been a
It's
great
been
show.
Awesome. You know, we've had some technical glitches again. Last one, remember, I didn't press the record button, so I made sure that we pressed the record button on this one.
Take two
Everything
was
is
way more
going-
fun anyways,
Yeah.
people. I
But
can
we
tell
had
you
some
that.
mic issues, so bear with us. We'll get all this technical stuff out of the way. But we were talking last time about Ardbeg fermutation.
Oh,
right?
fermutation,
Yeah.
yes. So, once again, we still have an unopened bottle of fermutation. The discussion, what we would call the barber pull, if you like, is that we are uncertain as to whether or not we should open it. One of the things that will help us with their decision is if somebody has a little nip dram that they would like to share with us on the show.
Yes,
We
yes.
would love to have you on. We would love to have a taste of this. before we open ours. I'm sorry, selfish and so on, but yes, it is.
Yeah.
However, I think Randy, that's what we want to do, right?
Open it?
No, goodness no.
Try
No, no,
something
no.
else.
Somebody who's already opened it, bring it along. Let us try it. We'll give it
If
the
somebody has an open bottle,
Weeby Whiskey
by all means, yeah.
review.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we are.
But, and Dean doesn't know, you don't know anything about the spermutation thing.
I do not.
Do you? No. So Ardbeg, an island distillery, you know, known for smoke and all that kind of thing. And they had an issue with a boiler, so they couldn't take the
washback?
the washback and transfer it into the boiler.
Okay.
So it usually takes, you know, they put the yeast in the washback and it takes a couple days, 2, 3 days, 4 days to do
Washback, the yeast there will die in about 72 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
What did they
it
do?
died, so they opened it up. They had six washbacks.
Oh, wow.
They opened them up to the atmosphere, and then, I mean, there's yeast everywhere.
Yeah,
right? So
sure.
you had the natural yeast get in there, and it created
And,
this...
and
this-
bacteria, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Absolutely, because you,
You need
yeah,
that to
natural
make
bacteria,
it
so you can
activate.
get,
So.
you can
Yeah.
get sour notes and that kind of
You
thing.
do.
right?
Oh, wow.
So they distilled this wild yeast thing, and then they called it fermentation, and they released it as a committee release, and there were only
8,000 bottles.
8,000 bottles.
Yeah.
In Calgary at
We
Willow
got
Park,
36.
They managed to get 36 bottles.
Wow.
Sean got
We got one.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well
yeah.
done.
So
Very
we're,
interesting.
We've seen this bottle appreciate on the market. So like in the week that I bought it, from the time that I bought it until the time that I looked at it online, which
Yeah.
was 1 week later, it had almost doubled, more than doubled
Yeah,
in price
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. So it's one of the reasons we don't want to open it. But we would share some of the value
Yeah,
with
yeah.
somebody who wanted to bring us
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
they've already opened.
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
So we can try
And
it.
last time we asked about whether we should open it or keep it as an investment. We asked
There
for
we are.
comments.
Yep.
So
So
we'll check that out. We'll
keep
pressure-
adding comments
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we've gotten quite a few. Not enough for a consensus, but we've gotten quite a few. So
There you
let's
go.
bring on a whole bunch more and
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
Yeah,
And maybe
absolutely.
we'll pressure Sean into opening it. You never know, guys.
I'm a bit Scottish, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I take my wallet out very seldom.
We're going to work through the Japanese
Yeah,
and
that's
reduce
right.
the Scottishness a bit. Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for watching,
Great,
everybody.
laddie.
It's been awesome being with you, even though we had some technical issues again. We'll get that all figured out in future episodes, right? So if you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button down below wherever. There's some
Somewhere.
kind of
It's
button
it's
somewhere,
out there
right?
somewhere. There's-
Subscribe.
It says
like us.
subscribe, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And if you happen to work for Ardbeg or if you happen to work for any other distillery, by all means, get in touch with us. You can reach out to us through YouTube.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Bye.
Don't forget to take cab.